Welcome to Elf-Centered. This is Steampunk 202. The devil is in the details. Now, there are a lot of little parts to what I mean by that simple comment that the devil is in the details, and that is where indeed they reside. We are fortunate in the steampunk community that we do not have the costume police to the extent that a large number of other reenactment groups do, because we're not historically accurate. We take from certain periods, we appropriate, we borrow, and then we play with it. We change it, we make it our own. Excellent example, during the Victorian period, women wore their corsets under their clothes and did not wear their underwear as outerwear. You'll also see a whole lot more flesh shown among the steampunk community than you would during the Victorian period. The first part of this, for me, is that it's form before function. It's not just good enough that it works, but it's the appearance and the presentation and how it looks. Things should be crafted, not just built. And this is where the makers sub-community in the broader steampunk community really strut their stuff and show their forte. The ability to make things that often are operational, sometimes imaginary, but always look beautiful. And it's where the whole DIY thing comes from, too. Do it yourself. Get your hands in there. Get dirty. Don't just go out and buy something. You know, you can if you need to, especially when you're starting. But if you want to go from having a few outfits or some props that gain a little attention to something that people are fascinated with, something that people want to talk about, then you need to go for that form before function, that look. You have to remember that the Victorian period kind of started at the end of the Industrial Revolution, when everything was just cranking along. And as a result, there was an unprecedented sustained growth going on. Manufacturing, industry had made things so that your common items, your flatware, your glasses, your furniture, were now less expensive because they could be churned out en masse, and therefore more accessible to people. So therefore there was more of an emphasis as well on how things looked, on handcrafted pieces, on individual pieces from other places, other lands, other people, as well as from home. It impacted the lifestyle because of the availability of product. Now more people could have everything they needed. You didn't have to go and see somebody about making a chair, which would then take so many weeks. You could go to a shop and buy one. As well, the appearance and the look was more important because they didn't have the marketing machines that we have now. They didn't have television ads saying, drink this beer and scantily clad, gorgeous people will surround you. Drive this car and you'll be the hit among all your friends and family. They had to present it in a way that caught the eye, that looked good, that said, hi, look at this, you want to own it. It permitted more of a focus on finely crafted items. It also, there was a sense of pride during the Victorian period in one's life and lifestyle, regardless of class, that doesn't exist now. Now we'd rather whine and complain about things. Back then, yeah, okay, people grumped and griped, but for the most part, there was the pride of look where I am, look who I am, look what I have surrounded myself with, that I have surrounded myself with things of great beauty. And this goes for all the levels of class, honestly. Devil's in the details. Wardrobe is the easiest place to show things off because it's what you're wearing. Particularly when going to a 3-day convention, you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 outfits. I know people that change for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the parties afterwards. Particularly for men, the Victorian period is amazing. You've got hats of all sorts, top hats, bowlers. The fedora was there at the end of the period, so unfortunately was the trilby. Berets. There was a wide range of headwear. You've got cufflinks. Men could wear brooches. You've got pocket watches. You've got walking sticks. For the ladies, parasols. You've got lace and leather and feathers and all sorts of fabrics to play with. You've got colors, a broad palette. Though again, in the latter part of the Victorian era, after Prince Albert had unfortunately passed away, a lot of things went to darker colors. For two reasons. One, Victoria was in mourning, and what the royalty does, well, the common man tries to duplicate a little bit. And two, there was a lot of crap in the air and on the ground. There was dust, there was dirt, there was ash, and darker colors, browns, grays, and blacks, didn't quite show it so much as vivid blues, brilliant reds, bright yellows, greens, whites. You dressed for the occasion. It wasn't enough to just wear boots, pants, shirt, waistcoat, jacket, hat. You dressed for the occasion. If you're going out to be seen, then you went out to be seen. And you did a lot of seeing as well. What's the latest? What's going on? Who's wearing what? You also dressed for the weather. Now, one of the things that catches me here in Canada and makes me giggle a little bit, yeah, I do giggle, is the fact that we don't see a whole lot of steampunk events in the fall or the winter. And yet, particularly the gentlemen are wearing 2 to 4 layers of wool. This clothing was made for colder weather. Why we insist on going out and doing photo shoots and conventions and get-togethers in the summer when it can top 28, 32 degrees Celsius, I have no clue. There are lots of places you can get the accessories. You can Google to find images and ideas. You can talk to your friends. You can talk to other steampunk folk. And then you can go to steampunk conventions. You can go to flea markets and used clothing stores. And they're all over the place. Braces, also known as suspenders, that button are making a comeback. Cufflinks, making a comeback. Tie clips, you're seeing more and more of them. There's a lot out there to embellish with. Don't go overboard. Again, sometimes less is more. You don't want to be just covered in metal over your wool, but at the same time, you do want to accent things. You want to accessorize. Presentation is not just how you look, but how you act. The Victorian period gave us a lot of rules for social interaction. It can be a little, navigating a huge, thick rule set can be tricky, but at the same time, modern society doesn't seem to have very many at all. For example, gentlemen, when wearing a hat, know when to tip it and know when to doff it. And there is a difference. Every now and then you'll read that doffing is tipping. It's not. Tipping is grabbing the brim and up or forward. Doffing is taking it off your head. It's basically a short for do off with your hat. Doff. Simple, huh? How to act as a gentleman or a lady in societal get-togethers, particularly because steampunks do like to get together and dress up and socialize and talk and hang out. There are very, very few people who are steampunk at home as well as away. There are some. Living steampunk is an interesting challenge and a whole lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, but it's not for everybody. A lot of people are the weekend steampunks. Get together on the weekend, dress up, go on a picnic, tour a museum, learn some of the behaviors, learn some of the social niceties, the politenesses. And it stands out as much as the clothing does. So really, it's the little things. There's a saying, don't sweat the small stuff. My granddad used to say, you know what, sweat the small stuff. The big stuff tends to get taken care of because everybody sees the elephant in the room. I don't have a huge room. You put an elephant in here and there's maybe, space for 2 more. So trying to have a party, it becomes rather awkward and tight and close. The small stuff is ignored because a lot of people don't sweat it, but it's the small stuff that builds and causes the issues. When somebody says, you know what, the cufflinks you're wearing, talk to them about it. Explain why. Or, like I said previously, go back to the drawing board and grab another set. It's not like you can't find a ton of them. So, you want to find the devil? You want to be the devil? It's in the details. Go out and have some fun.